How many of you remember the show The Golden Girls? I'm sure plenty of you do. Well, I take that back. Probably not. Us more seasoned folks. And they have their theme song in the beginning, right? Thank you for being a friend. And so I heard that. I'm not singing the whole thing. Don't get excited. Welcome to the Pastor's Lounge. I'm Sherry, your unapologetically Christian therapist. Here we talk about all things mental health and wellness from a biblical perspective. I heard that song randomly come in my spirit the other day. I'm like, oh, where are we going? This video is about friendship. And I felt silly when I was writing the blog that kind of going with this, where some of these videos come from. And I was like, are we really going to talk about this, Lord? Like this is a thing that needs to be discussed. And he caused me to just think back on a lot of the sessions that I've had with people over these years, and inevitably a good amount of the conversation content goes to either the support that has come from really good friends or the awful experience of realizing that who they thought were friends were not, and having to renegotiate these relationships that a lot of these people, the clients I'm thinking of, have had since elementary school. And all of a sudden recognizing that they're not connected anymore, or it becomes really toxic, or it was always toxic, things like that. And so I'm like, you know what? All right. I get it. This is the thing. Let's talk about it. So let's take a moment. I'm going to pose you this question as we get into this. Take a moment, take 30 seconds, close your eyes if you want. Well, obviously only if you're not driving or something. Think about who are your close friends, number one. Do you have close friends? 2, how do you determine what makes someone a really close friend? And are you a great friend to your friends? Okay, those are the 3 questions. I want you to think about it. 30 seconds. Go for it. Okay, simmer on that. Okay, you got a few seconds to start. Now, I had to keep going, but you keep thinking. So with that reflection in mind, I want to throw out there that there are a lot of categories for friendships. I grew up, thank God, with a mom who raised me very confidently when it came to friendships, which it was very counter what I was being told in school and what a lot of us heard. And she raised me to believe, Sherry, there are acquaintances, there are your associates in school. And we're going back to like elementary school, okay, like 8, 9, 10-year-old me. These are conversations my mom and I are having, like, Sherry, not everyone is your friend. There are associates, there are acquaintances, your friends. Your friends are your super, super close people, and everyone is not your friend, and you do not have to be friends with everyone, contrary to what you're being told in school. You got to be friends with everyone. No, you don't. Let me help you. Let me set some of you adults free right now. You do not have to be friends with everyone. And if you're telling your children that, please stop immediately. No, you don't. No, you don't. Should you have friends? Yes. Should you try to survive life without any? No. But should you have really, really good ones? Yes. And is that everyone? Absolutely not, because not everyone is in your life with your best interest at heart, and not everyone is healthy. So what are some different categories of friendships, of friendships? Because that's what we're going to break down today. There are proximity friends. Now, again, I didn't pull this from some library or some research. And this is just kind of me just pulling out of the air, just categories that I've observed over the years. I'm sure some of these might actually be founded in somebody's book or research. And so if it's yours, good, take credit. I'm just kind of going off cuff with what I've seen and what I've kind of named some of these categories. So one being proximity. They're your friend because they're around. Right. This is very common in school age kids, right? They're my best friend. Why? Because they have a locker next to you. That's kind of as far as it needs to go. But the minute you graduate, all of a sudden they don't talk to you. Why? Because it was all about the proximity. Friends that you had at certain jobs, certain locations. But as soon as you're not in that shared space, it fades. Right. So be aware. There are some friends that are just virtue of they're near, and that's it. And that's what you have in common is your location. Trauma bond friends. Friends that you are connected based on the mutual and similar hurts that you've walked through. And so you've bonded over your pain. And that's been your common denominator. And it's made you cling to each other because you have this shared, really difficult background. And I will, just putting it out there for those of you in that category, those friendships don't always end well, especially if one or both of you starts to become healed. So little heads up in those categories. There are kind of the moocher friends. They're there when there's something in it for them. They're there only to take, and they very often do not give. And you are constantly in a state of pouring out. And when you're coming to cash in, There's not much there. Very opportunistic, very materialistic. It's all about what's in it for them, right? Very transactional friendships, but it's not really all that even. There are the friends that are kind of just there for a good time. They're your fun friends, but they're not deep, right? So these are the ones that when you're just down to just get out, have some fun, and take your mind off things, they're ready to go. But if you try to have a really in-depth, deep, philosophical, spiritual conversation, their eyes start wandering and they start yawning because they have no depth. They're just there for a good time, but that's not the person you're going to rely on when you're in crisis. There are friendships that are just based in your family loyalty, like, well, our parents are friends, and so now we grew up together, now we have to be friends, or even, and sometimes that bleeds into family, right, which we've discussed in past, that connections that are based in relation. And the fact that, well, this is my cousin, well, this is my whatever, and this, so I have to be friends with them because they're always around. And we have shared relatives. It's not the reason you need to be friends with them, but we're often told this, right? And so there are friendships that we maintain out of guilt and out of obligation, right? And that, leading into that, friendships that are based in guilt, something you feel sorry for them, you feel like you owe them. There's some emotional exchange, guilt-laden reason why you keep them around, because perhaps there's been an infraction in the past and now you feel like you owe them, or they've actually done something generous for you and now you feel like you have to stick around and deal with the parts of them that you're not a huge fan of because, well, they did this for me, so I kind of have to keep them. I could do this all day. And as I'm talking about this, right, you need to consider, okay, well, which one of those am I? Hopefully none. Right. But let's be honest, we've all had those scenarios where we've not been our best selves and we've been in some of these categories. And none of these are healthy, by the way. All the ones that I listed, these are not things that I would want you to aspire to be in these categories, but we all know them. We all recognize them. We all have them. And there's more. I'm sure there's 100 more categories if we took the time. So first and foremost, do you actually have good friends? Let's talk about what that means. The Bible talks about the value of having, deep friendships, friendships that are going to tell you the truth, that are going to love you, that are going to pick you up, right? It talks about in 𝐾𝐨𝐧'𝐭, like you need someone who's, if you're down, you're falling a bit, who's going to pull you up. Like you want to have really quality connections that you can actually rely on. So let's go through some qualities that you need to really make sure. Do you have good people around you? Are they trustworthy? Can you tell them something and they don't tell everyone else? Is it reciprocal? You're both getting something out of the relationship. You're both benefiting. You're both growing, right? And when you're down, they're ready to pick you up. And when they're down, you're ready to pick them up. And it's even. And the support is equal, right? Are you able to be really honest with them? Are you in friendships where you're holding back how you really feel because they're so easily offended and they're so fragile and they're so insecure or they're so obnoxious that you can't actually say how you really feel with them? So you're always tiptoeing, just kind of riding the wave until you get an opportunity to really be yourself with somebody else, right? But in this particular friendship, you can know that you can't be fully transparent because they can't handle it. So do you have someone who's truly reliable and has emotional maturity, right? Do you have a friend that keeps their word? They actually keep their promises. They don't say they're going to do something and then don't, right? They show up when they say, I'm going to be there for you. When you have that surgery, I'm going to be right in the room with you, go for it. And they actually follow through, right? Are they loyal? Are they committed to you? Can they be honest with you? Do you have someone that you're safe to be checked by, who will tell you when you're wrong, who will point out the issues when they need to, but do it in a way where you feel loved and not chastised, right? And not all of these friendships require years and years and years of time. I have some friends that I've known since I was a kid, and I have some that I've met at different life seasons that know me at this, kind of adult, married family life, chapter of my story. And it's absolutely incredible to have people that speak these different languages of my life seasons and know me from when I was young and can vouch for some of my earlier stages, and those who are here to lift me up at a season where I feel like a fish out of water sometimes because I'm new to this chapter, and it's so refreshing to have that balance. I'm going to add what matters most to me personally and will to other believers is, do you have friends that can pray over you? Do you have friends that can labor in the spirit with you, that you can go to for true spiritual support and spiritual guidance, and you are going to get exactly that they're strong in the word. They can hold you up. They can support you in scripture. They can pray powerfully with you, and you have that access with them. Is that what's going on? Right? So, and yes, friends that you can have fun with. Absolutely. Everybody doesn't have to be serious, right? Everybody doesn't have to be, reading books and doing philosophy conversations. Like, yes, you want friends that have hobbies, that have a life, that bring adventure out in you. I'm thinking of some particular friends right now that there are things I would have never tried if God hadn't put them in my life. And I didn't realize how brave I could be until I met some of these folks, and they had me, step out and discover an adventurous side that I didn't know was there. And I continue to thank them for that, because that was a need that wasn't being met, that I didn't even know I needed. Right. So people that, again, ultimately, what does that come down to? Friendships that enhance you. You are better for having been with them. And in all of this, talking about time, there are times and seasons to friends. Some friendships are not meant to be for a lifetime. I've counseled many people through the painful process of watching a friendship die because it had to. And the efforts they were making to keep it going, because she's been my friend since elementary school. There's no way this could be ending. You're different people. You can outgrow each other. You can, and it doesn't have to come to some horrible meltdown. It could just genuinely be, the season's over and it's okay, and we can shake hands and let it transition, and it doesn't have to be this horrible situation. Just we've served our purpose in each other's lives, and it's time to grow. It's time to move on. That's okay. I also have had, and I appreciate, seasonal friendships. I can look over the course of my life, especially in my college years. There's some people that stand out to me where they were totally meant. I needed them my freshman and sophomore years. There are people that God brought into my life, particularly at those stages or some areas of my development, where they were pivotal, and then we just naturally separated. And it wasn't anything awkward. If I saw them today, I would still hug them. But that's all. We served our purpose in each other's lives, and that was it. And trying to push past that oftentimes is what gets us in trouble. But yes, also, there are friendships that you will absolutely have your entire life, because God's good like that. We get a little bit of everything. But knowing the times and the seasons, knowing the role that they have and that you have in their lives, and serving in that position well, being on time, answering the text, being communicative, speaking their love language, checking on them, sending scripture, being involved, being invested, that takes effort, but it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. But remember, go through, take stock, do an inventory check of who you consider your close friends, which, as you get older, need not be more than about 5 people. Now, don't quote me on that. Don't be like, all right, let me see. Sorry, Jane, you're number 6. You're out. Like, no, I'm not. Don't take me literally. But what I'm getting at is 10, 20 people should not be your absolute closest friends. Your absolute closest friends, you can be 100% vulnerable and literally or figuratively naked with, and there's no shame. There's no discomfort. They've seen you cry. They've seen you struggle, and they are in support of you. They're able to challenge you and correct you, and everything stays safe and strong between you, right? Time can pass, life can get busy, and you get on the phone, and it's like you just talked to them yesterday. Those folks, that's not 20 people. It's not. It shouldn't be. Even for you extroverts out there, your close, intimate friendships, those that were intimate friendships, you should be intimate with a whole lot of people. So 5. This is a good amount, right? You take care of those folks. You are honest with them. Assess your top 5, your fab 5. Are they meeting those criteria? Do you have some friendships that you may have to let go or start to renegotiate the terms, right? As you've developed, because you're recognizing this is not quite as healthy or reciprocal as it should be. And I'm realizing that. And I'll put out there, because I've seen this happen with some clients as well. I'm thinking of a couple folks in particular where they absolutely would admit that they maintained some friendships longer than they needed to and put up with nonsense and were always helping and always giving money and doing all these things because they just didn't want to lose the friendship. They didn't want to be alone. So again, these conversations aren't always about relationships, folks. I'm not talking about romantic relationships. It's completely platonic, amistades, just your friends, right? there are people who get just as desperate for that connection that they will continue to buy their friends. No, no, no. Take the time to address why you're taking that approach. Get some healing and help for that level of insecurity and desperation. Because no, obviously, these other individuals can smell the fact that you are this desperate, and they're not exactly going to let you know about yourself in that way because they're capitalizing on it, right? So it's going to be on you to realize this the way we're operating is not healthy. And you may have to have a few honest conversations. A true friendship can bear the weight of some uncomfortable conversations. I can say at this life stage, the people that I consider myself closest to, at least once, we have had some very difficult conversations where we didn't see eye to eye, or they were correcting me, or I'm pointing something out to them and it challenged me to do, but I knew it had to be done because I loved them, and vice versa. And we survived it. Why? Because we're actually friends. It's not superficial. It's not an acquaintance. It's not someone that I'm like, all right, yeah, I can ignore that. I can let that go. We're not that close, right? And how you define close changes over time. What I would say was my criteria when I was 17, what I would say at 27, what I say now at almost 41, has completely evolved. There are a handful of things that have come along for the ride over the years that are pretty consistent, but now it matters. It's additionally important to me, obviously, to have friends that are strong in the Lord, but also understand my life season as a parent. So I've gotten closer to some folks who are able to counsel me in the area of just family life, right? So we evolve, and that's okay. It doesn't make any other friendship less valuable. It's just the degree of what is shared and how it's shared evolves, and that's okay. But again, they're meeting the basic criteria: trustworthy, faithful, honest, loyal. It's reciprocal. I'm growing. I'm better for having them in my life. My family's better. We're benefiting from each other. That's a great thing. We can pray with and for each other. That's the good stuff. So, do you have some opportunistic friends, some trauma bond friends, some not so healthy dynamics that you've been entertaining out of a sense of obligation, out of fear of the repercussions of cutting it off, out of some poverty mentality you have that, well, at least it's this or no one, or I'm going to keep seeing them at the family events, so let me just tolerate it. The ones who are always just taking, never giving, just draining your batteries. Time to reassess. Let's find out who your true friends are. Let the Lord make it clear. And then as you sit with him and go through your little list, Lord, as I reassess my life to ensure that I'm in the right places and I have the right people around me, can you help me really know and have the discernment to know what friendships are meant to move on with me to the next season of my life, and which ones I may need to just have some hard conversations with, or just let them go. And he will help you. He will guide you into all truth. The Bible says, and he is the friend that sticks closer than a brother. So even if walking through this process of maybe purging some relationships that are really no longer serving you, and worse, probably taking a lot from you and giving nothing back, you risk being alone. Remember, you're not alone, because Jesus is never going to leave you or forsake you. And he will help you restock with the right folks as you get healthier emotionally and recognize what you're worth, your value, that you don't have to compromise when it comes to choosing good, godly, strong, excellent friendships. And as you make those adjustments, you will attract better folks and enjoy the rich, fulfilling, balanced gift that is being and having good friend. Be encouraged out there as you take stock, look over your list, have some tough phone calls or meetings, or take a moment and say thank you. Call and reach out to a friend you haven't talked to in a while who really is a good friend, and you've just been busy, and you need to let them know, hey, thank you for being a friend. That's it. You're not getting the rest again. All right. Hope this encouraged you, motivated you, gets you thinking. And if so, please like, subscribe, and share with a friend. How about that? And until next time, I pray you prosper and you are in great health, even and especially as your soul prospers.